be holding, monthly series on discussions that are vital on topical issues and, life experiences every month, discussing on different, and diverse issues affecting us as a nation, personally, and, in our, different spheres and walks of life. So I'm so excited to have you all join this call. And this is the first one of its kind. We're kicking off, this program. This is the first one that we are launching for the Lagos Growth Lab monthly series by the USGEAA. And once again, I want to welcome you warmly into this program. So today's session is going to be on prioritizing mental health. As we all know, in this part of the world, we don't really take our mental health as, we don't really take cognizance. And it's high time we start, giving attention to our mental health, because it goes a long way, to help us, in stabilizing, ourselves in our daily activities, being there for our families, and, and also keeping a healthy life. So our mental health is very, very crucial, and we have to prioritize it. And so because of that, and then because we understand that in a few days, we will be celebrating, the Men's Day. We will be celebrating that. And so we just decided to go on, to, give this session. So let's just dive right into our agenda for today so that I don't take too much of our time, understanding that this is weekend, a lot of us want to rest and all that. So today we're going to be taking an opening remark from our president, the president of the USGEAA, in the name of Barrister Akim Akwomade. He's the current USGEAA Lagos president. And so he's going to be giving us a opening speech to welcome the participants and set the tone for the event. So over to you, Mr. Akwomade. Thank you. Can you kindly unmute, sir? You are muted.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm grateful to you, our dear Publicity Secretary.
Thank you so much.
Mrs. Omobolaji Jaji, fondly called BJ. Distinguished fellow Nigerians, I say good evening. First, please allow me to thank our distinguished speakers. First, the legendary Soni Irabor, my dear sister, Chinyere Nduu Okoro, and my learned friend, Mr. Dare Asobele. I hope I got the name right, because I'm a stickler for getting African names right. By accepting to speak at today's program, you, our speakers, and us, the United States Government Exchange Alumni Association, we are together making history. I welcome all our participants, and I thank you for accepting our invitation to join us. After its inauguration in April, the new ESCO of the USGEAA decided to institute a monthly project called the Growth Lab. And the aim is simply to provide our members, and non-members alike, an opportunity to learn from individuals who have distinguished themselves in various fields. For today's program, which is the first, and that is why I say that we are all together making history, we drew inspiration for today's topics from this week being dedicated to men's mental health. The speakers invited were carefully chosen, I assure you, representing a wide range of perspectives. I urge everyone to pay close attention and to be prepared to learn. On behalf of the United States Government Exchange Alumni Association, I declare this program open, and I wish us all a productive and enlightening time. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. And so we're going to the next thing on our agenda, and that is our presentation. We are going to be sharing insights on addiction, its impact on mental health, and available support systems. And that is going to be taken by our beautiful speaker, Chinyere Okoro. She's a mental health coach. She is certified in addiction treatment, recovery, and mental health support for over 3 years. She has built a track record of counseling clients with all forms of addiction and co-occurring mental health conditions. She runs Refiner, a mental health support system for employees and addiction recovery support services. She is also the programs manager of Faith Thrive Recovery Center, which offers educational, treatment, and counseling support for mental health conditions to young adults in Lagos. She's also a global master trainer with the Smart Recovery International Office, a research-based mutual support program for the recovery of all forms of addiction, a member of the United States Quarantine Youth Network, a winner of the Consulate General Award of Excellence, a McKinsey Society Forward alumna, and member of the International Society of Substances Use Professional Association. So right now, we call on Chinyere Nduu Okoro to take on, the presentation. Thank you, and you're most welcome, to this session. You can go ahead, please. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, BJ. Good evening, everyone. Please confirm if you can hear me loud and clear before we push.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can everybody else hear, please?
You are loud and clear.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So I noticed that we haven't really had time to probably check in since we started. The president started off and then we're now good to go. So just take a moment and type on the chat how you feel right now. I know I have 15 minutes. I'm very, very particular about the time as well, but I need us to check in on each other. So just help me type in the comment. How do you feel right now? How do you feel right now? Of course, there's no right or wrong answer, but I like to read your responses before we go in. Okay, exciting. We're having some people sending in. I feel stressed. I feel good. Been working since morning. That's you. I feel awesome. Excellent.
I am anxious.
Barrister Kim is anxious. Patience is calm. Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone, for your answers. But the truth is, I feel like we're doing something that is really, really heroic. Having conversations about mental health is common. I mean, anybody can talk about mental health these days, but talking about mental health and men in the same sentence, so to say, has not really been a popular thing. You can talk about mental health here, but using mental health and men in the same sentence is like, wow, what is your agenda exactly? So tonight, this evening, we're going to quickly just look at men's mental health with a focus on addiction. We want to ask ourselves, what are some questions? What are some things we should note as it concerns addiction? So let's get right to it. Okay. Confirm if you can see my screen, please. Can you see my screen? Thank you for spotlighting. Can anyone see my screen? I need confirmation, please.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. So, like I said, I have just 15 minutes. So, first of all, what is an addiction? The reason why I have used this slide is because many of us tend to think of addiction only as it concerns alcohol and other drugs. But the truth is, someone is as much likely to get addicted on something like social media as anyone else could get addicted to heroin, for example. And so an addiction is a state of psychological or and physical dependence on the use of drug. Of course, the definition is on the screen, so I'm not going to go reading what you can already read. But the essence of this statement is so you understand that life that is normal, life that is mentally healthy, is the life that you have control over. When you look at all forms of addiction that people experience, one thing is common: there's compulsion. So that means over time, people no longer have control over how they interact with that particular substance or that particular behavior. So the question would be, what is your relationship with food? What is your relationship with social media? What is your relationship with cigarettes? What's your relationship with sex? What's your relationship with exercise? These things, of course, they might seem good initially, but at the point where someone has become physically or psychologically dependent, such that if they do not do this behavior, then they are not fine, then something is wrong. Okay, now I have a second definition. Addiction is a chronic, meaning it doesn't just, just start overnight. Though for some substances, like maybe crack cocaine or heroin or crystal methamphetamine, just using it once can make someone addicted. But then the notes word here is chronic. It develops over time for a lot of people. And it's relapsing. That means a lot of persons could be trying to recover without much success. In fact, close to 60% of people would probably relapse back into the addiction after 1 year of treatment. Now, is that supposed to be a bad news for you? No, because it is treatable. That means it's possible for people to recover from addiction and to be able to move on with their life, be able to recover, basically. And I'm sure when Mr. Dare or Mr. Irabor speaks later, you're going to probably see more and more evidence of how addiction can affect everything around someone's life. So when someone gets addicted, it might look like it's just them that is having a problem. But the truth is, for one person that is addicted, family members, employers, friends, neighbors, a lot of persons get to partake of the effect of that addiction. And so when we talk about mental health and talk about men, it gives me a food for thought. And maybe it should give you too. Because a man is at the center of a very long and large circle. How so? A man probably has family that he's not definitely alien to. They know him, he knows them. A man has friends, a man has his own family, maybe a man has a job. And when you think about it, this man is connected with a lot of people. If anything were to happen to his mental health, whether you know it or not, people in that circle would be affected. Addiction is characterized by a compulsive engagement that affects these individuals' ability to function over time. So people are no longer able to pay attention to work. He's not able to be a good husband to his spouse. He's not able to care for his children. He's not able to even take care of responsibilities, even things that he naturally would love before. What does this look like for you? To me, it looks like instability. An addiction can be destabilizing. But tonight we're here to talk solutions. So this is just to give you a quick understanding of what addiction really connotes in people's lives. There's compulsion, there's dependence, both physically and psychologically. And this relapsing means it could be like a very big and then winding about circle, trying to get back up and falling back to it again, and then so on and so forth. Now I have some stats, addiction and men. So as you can see on the screen already, 296 million people, that's about 5.8 of the world population, use illicit substances. Now this is a 2021 figure because these researches are not done every year. But can you just imagine what that number would be today? Your guess is as good as mine. 20 to 65% of these people, of these 296 million, are likely to develop an addiction. Wow. 70% of men use cannabis. Mind you, cannabis illicit drug of that number we had quoted before. And 70% of people that use cannabis are men. Now, cannabis or synthetic cannabis. So natural cannabis like marijuana, and those things. And there's a wide myriad of like Colorado, name it, Black Mamba, and all of these things. Synthetic, when you talk to it than you know. So a lot of things have been mixed into that substance to make you high, but then tonight, the essence of my presentation, and for you to get thinking, I'm here to spur you to thoughts. So as you look at all of this data, I want to be asking yourself a question. So what? What does this mean for me? What does this mean for the men in my life? What does this mean for the men at my place of work? Now, males are most likely to get addicted to any drug, valid at the UK, in the US, and other nations of the world, and men any drug or some behavior in particular. Names are more implicated than women. Now, 12% of male aged 12 years and above report illicit drug use compared to 6.3% of female. And this is from the Addiction Center in the United States. But this research is across board. 12% of male aged 12 years and above. That number is way large. Now, you might ask yourself and say, wait, these things exist. Why should I be concerned? Well, you should be, because 18 to 25 years has the highest rate of addiction, and many. So it's not when this problem started that a lot of persons accept that there's a problem. Sometimes it takes 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, 5 years before someone admits that, okay, wait, there's a problem. I need to solve it. I had a client who had been using crack cocaine for 33 years. That means he wasn't trying to solve the problem for 33 years. Do you know what that means? Left to your imagination. I see BJ is already shaking her head. She's like, I can't believe this. Yes, that's what we're here to talk about, men and mental health. Now, 1 in 5 people, when you see AOD, that means alcohol and other drugs. So 1 in 5 people with AOD addiction are in treatment. That might sound like good news, or at least they're getting some help. Over 60% are men. You would ask, wait, if this much men get addicted, we should expect more number of men in treatment, right? But we don't. And you wonder why? Well, we'll find out. More women experience mental health conditions. True. More women get depressed. Yes, all of those things. True. But across culture and ages, less men seek help. Research was done in the UK recently. Embarrassed to seek help, but there was a lot of stigma, around this mental health thing. So it's not for me. Again, my aim this evening is to get you to think. I hope you're thinking right now, what does this mean for me? That I know. What does this mean for all the men in the world? Big picture, big picture. Let's move on. I think I have a few more minutes left. Myself, all these stats and numbers, what is the sense in it? We have a global drug use, mental health and addiction epidemic. Yes, that is fact from what you can see in the stats. 5.8% of the entire world population are using illicit drug as at 2021. That number is grown now. Our men are more at risk, but it doesn't look like the care system, the belief system, or we have time on our side to solve this yet. I underline the care system. Men are not seeking help. something is wrong, either because the care is not accessible, not affordable, or not acceptable to them, and their belief systems. You know, you see a woman smoking and you're like, she's smoking. But you saw a man smoking and you didn't do that face. You see a woman come to you and saying, oh, I have this problem, I need to talk to someone. And you say, yes, please, come, let's talk. But then a man comes to you and says, something is wrong, and probably breaks down in tears. And your first reaction is, okay, what is going on? So we have belief system both in ourselves and in the men that needs to be changed. And we don't have time on our side. Why do I say that? Remember that age I told you a while ago? 18 to 25 is the age when most of these men get hooked with addiction. What does that tell you? At the very highest risk of addiction, more than ever before. That done more and more hooked with an addiction. I was reading a study recently that many percentage, over 70% of street children use some sort of psychoactive substance. Again, the idea behind what I'm doing this evening is to get you to think. But then let's talk solution. Yes, my time is almost up. Let's talk solution. Recovery is possible. There's no point talking about all of the problems about it. Now, the next question you probably want to ask yourself is, okay, so where do I come in? Because you do come in somewhere, okay? Either it's by changing your language, or changing the way you see this problem, changing the way you see men and mental health. And it's beyond boys are allowed to cry. With all due respect, boys are allowed to cry. It's beyond that. I'm sure when Mr. Dari comes up or Mr. Irabor, you understand that there's a lot of underlying factors to why men are not seeking help, even though they have mental health conditions. So the question is, what can you or what would you do about it? So recovery is a process of change. Just a moment. A process of change through which people improve their health and wellness, live self-directed lives, and strive to reach their full potential. Now, I've underlined a few things in that definition just for context, just so you understand. It's a process. Recovery is not a destination. So you saw the man, he was wearing tattered clothes, and you said, he has an addiction. Let's help him. Many people are wearing suits, tuxedos, and they have an addiction. It's a process. It's not a destination. It's not on the look. It's not written on the face. It's a journey. And the day you accept to enter that journey, then it starts for you. So the question would be, is there anything you on this call can do to ensure that more men enter this process, enter into this journey of recovery? Beyond that, while people are on this, they're supposed to improve their health and their wellness and live self-directed lives. Pardon me. Improve their health and their wellness, live self-directed lives. So, like Mr. Dari or Mr. Irabor was speaking, men, the ones you can see goes into mental. Talked about the fact that addiction is compulsive, is able to take back control of his life. I won't do it. So there's improved health and wellness. Remember what we said about addiction, that over time, person's life. But now in recovery, what has improved? So he's able to cater to his responsibilities, he's able to eat well, able to sleep well, and able to function well. And also to live self-directed lives. I started by saying, your simple way to understand a life free of addiction is a life under your control. You need to be able to be the one who calls the shot, not some stick of cigarettes, who calls the shot of whether you should focus at work or not some snort of cocaine, not some imaginations of some naked bodies. I'm trying to be very blunt. But then this is what it means to live a self-directed life, and also strive to reach their full potential. So that's what recovery means. And then I said here that recovery exists, like I've already shared with you. It stands on 3 legs, but it is all in your hand. It stands on 3 legs. What are these 3 legs? Medication. Yes, we do have medications. We have detoxification procedures that would enable the man. I'm being specific to the gender now because this is Men's Mental Health Week, right? So that will enable the man be able to wash out the drugs or the substance, just in case the substance, out of their body system to avoid any physical complications, in their health. There's also replacement therapies. So people who are probably addicted to cigarettes can get Nicorette gum. It's like a gum you could chew, and it gives you the same effect as a cigarette. It's just that it's not affecting your lungs. There are a lot of replacement therapies. Many of them, we have replacement therapy for opioid use disorder, like methadone, naltrexone. All of those things have been proved by research to work. There's also counseling. That's the second leg, where you can get to do motivational interviewing, cognitive behavioral therapies, dialectical behavioral therapies, family therapies, life skills training to enable this person. Remember we said about what? Improving your health and well-being and living a self-directed life. And then the last leg is support. So a man who is probably telling you that, I think I need to seek help for my addiction. You have just received a very good news. Now, that man cannot do it on his own. Remember we said when a man is addicted, a lot of persons connected to him is affected. Same also, when a man is in recovery, a lot of people around him will need to rally around him to help. So there's peer support. This one is offered by someone who has been addicted himself, but now is recovering and is able to help others who are also recovering. There's mutual support. There's job training. There's case management, because we realize that you're treating an addiction and helping someone recover. It's not just the person. He might need a job that he had lost. He might need care for his child. He might need help to get a house, anything that would make him stabilize quick and fast. So these are extra available resources, or where you can get this help. We have hospitals. You can check out some emergency units. We have specialized addiction treatment centers. We have a couple in Lagos. You can check them out online. I didn't want this to be a promotional thing, so that's why I didn't mention any names. But if you reach out to me personally, I'll give you some names. And then we have alcohol and drug diagnostic centers. We have a few here in Lagos as well, even in Abuja, I'm sure. Then we have mutual support meetings. We have in-person meetings and online. We have Alcohol Anonymous. There's Narcotics Anonymous. Then there's Smart Recovery. You can check all these online. We also have e-health, where you can take lessons to help you stabilize your mental health. Thank God for technology. So you can check out mental health online. These are some resources that has been found to be helpful. Don't forget, this is supposed to be a simulating session to get you to ask yourself the question, what's the point? How does this concern me? What can I do differently? What's in it for me? Not selfishly, but what's the problem I see in this that I can solve? And like I always tell my clients, you want to be high? Cool. Well, be high on life. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it, and I'll be ready to take questions subsequently. Over to you, BJ.
Thank you so much, Chi. And in just a little short while, we learned a lot, because I'm not really so vast on mental health, but with the little you have given, it's as if I've really learned so much. I've really learned a lot. And so from your discussion, from your presentation, I can pull out that that it's something that you can solve. It's a problem that can be solved if if we are willing, to go for therapy. If we agree to go for therapy, and we are aware that yes, we are really having mental health issues. So from your presentation, I deduced that addiction is not only on drugs. A lot of people feel when you speak of addiction, you're talking about just drugs, hard drugs, marijuana, cocaine, and all that. It's not only on drugs. I would also give a personal experience to this, because of the nature of my job as a fashion designer and all that. I'm most times online doing stuff, looking for information, posting and all that. So it got to a point, I was feeling a little bit of pain at the back of my ear, the bone just right at the back of my ear. And, it gave me so much concern. I went to the hospital. I told the doctor what was wrong with me. And next thing the doctor would say, too much screen time, that I needed to stay off my screen, that there was actually nothing wrong with me. That was because I was spending too much time on screen. And he told me to stay off, screen. And I did so in just 2 or 3 days. And I realized that the pain left. Whenever I touched it, it was gone. So he explained it, but because I didn't really get the explanation properly, he spoke about, when we are looking too much at the screen, something goes on at the back of your brain or something, and then it affects your cranial nerves and all that. And so I could realize that because I went for, a medication. I tried to get medication. I got the solutions to it. And then I made sure I kept to what the doctor said. And today I'm fine. And I'm always very, very particular about my screen time. Once I'm off, I'm off. There's nothing anybody wants to do online that I would be there, because my health matters. And then I really wanted, to maintain a stable mental health. And thank you so much. And also from your presentation, I realized that a lot of men don't speak up because of the stigma attached to, you say men are so, you don't want, men feel if they are vulnerable, they are going to be taken advantage of or probably looked down on, and probably, they are weaklings. So sometimes they always say, man up, man up. Please, men, I want to advise you, men in the house, forget about man up and express yourself as you can. If it makes you feel good, please cry if you want to cry. It is just about to make yourself, release, those very energies that are toxic in your system. It will help you, and it also gives you, it will help you, gain a balanced mental health. It will help you be there for your families. It will help you to be there, on your jobs. So thank you so much, Chi. We gained a lot.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So before I move forward in deep into the agenda, I would want to observe the presence of our very, I call him uncle. I call him daddy. He's our daddy. So you're welcome, sir. His name is Mr. Soni Irabor. He's a veteran broadcaster. And so we are delighted and excited to have you here, sir. I am so excited. You can see it all over me that we're actually excited to have you here. And I just wanted you to, take your time and balance, and then I'll move on to you. So I'm going to read a little short bio about Mr. Soni, because I can remember Uncle Soni right back in those days. I think when we were still little, wearing pants and singlet, running up and down. We used to watch Soni Irabor live, because I know my dad doesn't miss it when he's watching it. Everybody's laughing. Am I Gen Zs? I know Gen Zs can't know that one. Soni Irabor, we're always looking forward to looking at watching Soni Irabor then on TV. So I'm going to read a short bio of Uncle Soni, Mr. Soni Irabor. Mr. Soni Irabor is an award-winning media icon, broadcaster, advertising practitioner, media manager. In fact, it's a lot. Communications consultant. I want you to, put the clap emoji. Speech trainer, a talk show host, and Toastmaster of international repute. He airs one of Nigeria's most popular radio and TV talk show, Soni Irabor Live, with a career of over 3 decades, spanning radio and TV broadcast and film. Mr. Irabor studied mass communications at the University of Lagos and trained as a speech trainer with the Radio Dutch Welle. That's the Voice of Germany, Korn, Germany. He holds a certificate in leadership and governance in media and communications, Pan-Atlantic University, among others. He is a versatile media practitioner who has handled numerous PR and media relations assignments. As a Toastmaster, he has toasted numerous national and international events, including OAU and ECOWAS heads of government conferences and corporate events. And not forgetting, Mr. Soni Irabor is an alumnus of the International Visitors Leadership Program. So you're welcome on board, sir, and we're so excited to have you. So Uncle Soni is going to be addressing, us on the importance of men's mental health and the goals of Men's Mental Health Week. So looking at Uncle Soni, we know he has experience. Talking of his we're talking of job. Is it job experience, family experience? Because looking at your age, we know you have gone through the different phases of life. And so we can't wait to hear from your valuable insights. So over to you, sir, Uncle Soni.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Thank you very much. Distinguished alumni, thank you so much. Listening to Chinyere, I just said, why am I here? I mean, I should probably have prepared the groundwork because she actually has addressed some very salient points and areas that really concern men. Well, yes, I'm 72, old man. And my son is 40. My daughter is 34, yes. But please don't tell them I told you, or they will kill me. They don't like me discussing their age with any of my friends, talk less of my colleagues like you guys. But anyway, so what's with a man and this so-called mental health? There was no mental health the way we know it now in those days, though, if I remember. But there were things like, being macho, being very in charge, being a man of all. Anybody that talks to you will feel he has, spoken to a man of authority. But the truth is, when, like what I'm doing now, if I leave here and I say I'm going to go somewhere else, I probably will be reflecting the things that I've said and done. Was I right? Did I say them well? Was anybody looking at me? In public speaking, sometimes we tell people, we say, look, when you are talking to an audience, remember that audience is important because they might know better than you do. But also remember that they are depending on you to direct them in the things you're about to say. So this is almost like what is happening now. I would like to just take us through, I'll just say that, let me not be too instructive on the way to go, but what is mental health? Allow me to read what I've discovered. Mental health is, healthcare is a relatively recent emotional analysis that pays a more focused attention to human behavior. But the truth is, it has been with us for a very long time. And it has just, it is just that it's, my sight is a bit affected, forgive me, so that we didn't recognize it as a health problem. It was actually a taboo to even give it such a hint, a thought of saying you're having mental health. Those days, when you mention health or mental health, they'll think you're a madman. But now we know better, because mental health is a mental health that it includes emotional, psychological, or social well-being. It affects how we think, how we feel, and how we act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make healthy choices. The truth simply is this. Most times, we're criticizing ourselves, but we don't know it. We expect so much of one another. We expect so much of oneself. As I'm talking to you now, I'm expecting so much of myself. If I'm thinking that I'm doing the right thing, then I'll be more confident in presenting the things I want to present. But if I'm thinking that I need some kind of intoxicant, as Chinyere tried to help us, determine, I may take a little bit of alcohol or a little bit of cocaine, God forbid, or some of those little things that's supposed to buffer your so-called self-confidence. But please believe it or not, it is not exactly what it seems. Most musicians, most actors, they depend on intoxicants to make them remember their lines, to make them sing well in front of the audience, to make them, encourage them to be very, very actively involved in self-confidence. You're supposed to comport yourself in such a way that no matter what you do, you got it right. You're the authority. You know it all. But oftentimes, we know that that's not exactly the case. So what influences mental health? You may have heard it from Chinyere before now, but I will just try to scan through some of them. Okay. You see, men's mental health can be influenced by a variety of risk factors, which can be broadly categorized into biological, psychological, or social factors. Now, I try not to be an expert in matters like this, because there's no real expert except those like Chinyere who have taken time and care to make a case study of some of these experiences. What's a case study? Looking at me, the way I'm talking to you, you don't even know why I was late, for example. You don't even know whether I had a fight with my wife, that kind of thing. Or that I had an argument that really triggered my emotional imbalance. There's so many issues that may come to bear when it comes to dealing with mental health. But let's go back to biological factors. And there's the genetic side. A family history of mental health disorder can, increase the risk of similar issues in men. I say similar issues because in a family, the genetic factor is if, for example, there's some kind of emotional behavior or instability in my family, it could be genetically induced, and then it can carry through to your offsprings or to your side springs like cousins and all of that. Because the family tree has a way of connecting the nerves and the blood flow. So my connection in this matter is to say, in genetics, most children who grew up from mothers or fathers who were in, maybe affected in some kind of situation that they could not control. That means it was beyond their control. And some of them trying their best not to be like their father or to like their mother. Some of them prefer to not be remembered by such characters or behavior. So what they then do is make a mental note of trying to avoid some of those circumstances. By the way, I don't know how much time I have, so I don't get carried away. Please, how much time do I have? Apology.
You have 20 minutes, sir.
Okay, good. Let me pretend that I am in charge of my time. So there's also the hormonal changes, fluctuations in hormones, such as, testosterone for the man, can affect mood and mental health. Let's look at the testosterone issue. Chinyere, you were very bold, and I really liked your self-consciousness of the fact that you didn't want to talk about man's sexuality. Come on, man and man. If there's a song say, man will behave, man, don't you understand? Anyway, don't worry. So will a woman too. The truth is, for a man who believes that he owns it all, he's very handsome, he can go anywhere. For a woman to burst his bubble and refuse to let go and love him in return, I tell you, above all, he will look around him and be sure that nobody is looking or listening to what they're saying. If there was such a conversation between a man and a woman, he would rather see himself as saying, I'm in charge of this woman. I love her. I like her. So I'm going to talk to her. For those of you who watch Nigerian movies, watch some of those boys, the way they talk to women. Hello, how are you? They're meeting for the first time. We say, will you marry me? Abba, come on. How can I ask a woman that I'm meeting for the first time in my life, will you marry me? Or Guinea? But those things happen a lot, you see. And so what we then say is, don't get carried away. But again, don't indulge yourself to the point of self-critique. Don't over-criticize yourself. Just be a man. How does a man become a man? if he's not just the man that he's supposed to be. The best you can do really is be sure of yourself. We'll come to low self-esteem later. Don't have low self-esteem. Allow yourself the mental aptitude of believing that you can do it. I am a trainer in speech. So in public speaking, when I tell people you can, some of them say, no, I can't. I can't just see human heads everywhere and they're all looking at me. I won't be able to say or do much. But the truth is, for some, it is those people that are looking at you that will give you the energy to rediscover yourself. So we always say, be yourself. Be a man. Don't be worried. Go into your mind and say the things you need to say because that's why you are there to talk in the first place. So back to the woman again. I see a woman, I want to talk to her. I love her, I like her, I'm sure of her. Oh, by the way, I'm married to my wife for 40 years. It doesn't mean we don't fight. It doesn't mean we don't disagree. But man, when we make love. I bet 40 years. You've got to have that life. You've got to believe that there's a reason you pick that woman as your wife, as your friend, as your companion, as your partner. Sometimes we have that problem. We're never too sure of ourselves. And so because of that inferiority complex, we tend to become overbearing. We tend to become, to be over decisive and over dictating. We want to be in charge when we're not sure of ourselves. Let me not get carried away with time again. All right, there's also the element of chronic illnesses. Okay, now this is another very unfortunate issue. And it usually happens to men. But I'm going to pick on one factor, but let me finish the area I want to consider. See, conditions like heart disease, diabetes, or chronic pain can contribute to mental health issues. But there's another thing, which is what I want to dwell on. You see, prostate cancer is a man's problem. It's a man's disease. But you see, women also have breast cancer, cervical cancer, and so on and so forth. Because of our gender, definitions, we have, what you might call peculiarities in our state of being. So then, those who are in charge of medical conditions, healthcare delivery, they tell us, remember to always do some checkups. I'll be honest with you, I'm not so sure I really want to go and see a doctor who will tell me I have some kind of strange cancer in my body. I'm not so sure, but then I have to do it. I have to check my PSA. I have to check my, be sure that my prostate is okay. There's no enlargement. It's not going to lead to any cancer of any sort. But if I don't go and check, and I live in denial, which is what most men are very guilty of. We men, us men, are very guilty of denial. So because of denial, we don't go to see the doctors. We don't go for medical checkup. And so we end up, confronting the very unfortunate pronouncement that the person has cancer or is due to do this or that, and he didn't do it. So he has to come to terms with the reality of it. We say, okay, can drugs do it? No, drugs don't always do it. If you don't discover in time, the drugs may not do anything. But if you do checkup and you discover in good time, the drugs will help. Same thing with women also. Don't think that it's only men out there, But anyway, there's also the psychological factors. Personality traits. Traits such as perfectionism, I'm so right, I'm always right, and I'm perfect. Anything I do must be well done. If I dress, I must dress to perfection. But mind you, I'm using this is the hand that is very active in my body now. This one is not very strong, because please forgive me. So I'm very active with my left hand. But you see, so some of us want to show that we are really well dressed. For example, I had to ask myself, how should I appear? Should I dress suit? Should I dress like this very simple outfit? The beauty of this is that it's both serious and simple at the same time. But perfectionism is a display of vanity of sorts. But, well, I can't blame anybody for trying to be perfect. It's good. We're just saying, don't overdo it. Don't over-depend on it. Don't over-expect so much of yourself. Okay? Then low self-esteem, which is the very opposite. You're not even sure you can even utter a word, like the analogy I gave earlier about a man and a woman. Some guys are so afraid to talk to women. They don't want to even mention to the woman how they feel about that woman. But they want to they will always be nice and chatty when the woman is around. They will always miss her companionship and presence whenever she's not around. So we blame such people who cannot express themselves of suffering from low self-esteem. They cannot talk when they should. If they are the type that will say, if I say this now, they'll so go and be complaining about that. Oh God, I don't want this kind of situation. What will people think? Nobody gives a hoot about what they think or what you think. They don't even give a hoot about who you are. All they know is be yourself. And I'm telling us now, men, be yourself. All right, now, there's high levels of neuroticism, which can increase vulnerability to mental health problems. Well, neurosis or neurotic issues, let the psychiatrists, the psychologists, and even sociologists, please come to our rescue. Talk to us the best way you can. But there's nothing to it except to believe that if you're over dependent on drugs, Chinyere, thank you so much. You said a lot about that. Or you're over dependent on alcohol, or you're over dependent on intoxicants, those little things. For example, let me just give you a little example. There used to be a drug called, forgive me. My wife used to take it. She had to wean herself out of it. It's not Mogadon. It was a popular one like Mogadon, but it was a sleeping tablet. And that sleeping tablet, we used to, if you don't get sleep, you depend on it. You need it to, take it so that you can get some sleep. But the truth is, instead of getting that sleep, what you might get is not sleep or shallow sleep or headache. And it doesn't really help you. But if you take it today, it doesn't work. You take it tomorrow, it doesn't work. Take it next week, next month, next year. You become addicted to it. And that becomes a problem. So it can be addicted to drugs, can be addicted to even personal behavior. But look, somebody said to me the other day, it was a young boy, said me, sir, is it possible to overcome, excuse my language, masturbation? I said, excuse me? Because I didn't expect it to come at me at all the way it did. Masturbation. I said, if you are going through it, maybe you should see a pastor or a reverend father in the Catholic Church. Because he said, no, he said he talked to one pastor and he said, no, you are being attacked by the devil. I had to call him and say, listen, it's not about devilish issue. It's more about how you can control yourself, wean yourself from anything that is addictive at all. Break loose so that you can be a normal human being. Do normal things like any other person, and there will be no problem. So don't worry about it. Rather, if it occurs to you, fight it. Move away from it. Remove your mind from it. Go outside. Do anything that would not trap you into the thought of it. Today, I'm happy to say that the young man, he calls me now and again. He now has a girlfriend, by the way. He's very happy about that. And he even opened up to his girl. So that helped him out of it. All right, let's go to previous trauma. Past experiences of trauma or abuse that can have long-lasting effects on mental issues. Okay, let's look at the issue of somebody that was so close to somebody and the person maybe died after a long illness. They were so close to each other to the point that when that person died, this companion found it very, very difficult to do without that person. Look at it this way. A dog who is very used to an owner who doted on him or her, the dog. If the owner dies, the dog, I'm sure you must have heard stories like that before. The dog will go to where they used to meet a lot and commute. And it will just be there for a long time and things like that. Now, the dog, the same, is man's best friend. Because of situations like that, you see victims, a dog can be a victim of mental health, just the same way as men or women can be. The truth is, no matter what we say to ourselves or of ourselves, we must come to terms with our reality. And our reality is, be bold and die young, but don't die. Let go of your ill will, ill wind, ill feelings. Don't let those things that tie you down be your master. Instead, exhale. Take a deep breath. Somebody said to me, if you are angry, count 1 to 10, the anger will dissipate. I tried it and it worked. I used to be so angry those days, but today I'm a lot better. So anyway, let's go into substance abuse. Chinyere, thank you so much. You talked about it earlier. Alcohol or drug abuse can, exacerbate or trigger mental health disorders. That's because you become dependent on it. Intoxicants. You become mentally, controlled by it. And you don't want to fall for that kind of thing. But then let me fast forward. Social factors. You can isolate yourself from the madding crowd or from good friends, from the USGEAA group of friends. Sometimes when I hide to read some of the things people post, I just laugh and I smile because I was a member of the IVLP in 1986. So today I know I'm a Methuselah, but don't worry, God did. So I feel really in your midst. I feel really, really happy and excited because when I speak to some of you, like Balaji was saying, Uncle Soni, thank you for calling me. But Balaji, if you say not with my wife, I'll change it for public. Call me Uncle Soni. You say Soni, So, but see, that's the idea of don't. You don't want to tie yourself to social isolation. Don't isolate yourself. We are social animals. We love our companionship. We love ourselves, but we also love our friends and the warmth they exude. So lack of social support and connections can lead us to feelings of loneliness and depression. Now, depression, I want to pick that word, depression, because depression is a very serious, very lonesome, very debilitating behavior of the mind. And sometimes we let it consume us. Please do not, I beg you, allow depression to gain control of your psyche or your mind, no matter what. Just listen to yourself and know that there are things that you can actually say or do that will make sense to others. Even though it doesn't make sense to you, that's why you must talk to somebody else. Because, you see, some of us, we have ideas. We may not like the idea, but talk to somebody else. You might find that your idea is so important, but it was that person you spoke to that made it known to you that it was important. Okay, work-related stress. Hey, this one, wow. High levels of job stress, job insecurity, or unemployment can negatively impact mental health. Job stress, when you have too much to do. Job insecurity. How? No, sorry. If you are not doing well at your job, go and find out why you are not doing well at your job, because you should be able to do well at your job so that you can be appreciated. It will be terrible if you're not doing well at your job and then you now go into the employment labor market, and then they now come and be telling you, sorry, there's no employment. It's bad enough that we're dealing with government today. The naira that was ×3 before now is gruesomely divided by 3, maybe even by 4. So there's nothing we can do about that except to come to terms with that reality and then see how we can navigate our ways out of it. What can we do, therefore, that can make us better, employers of labor or employees ourselves, or just survivors? Do not dwell on the things you cannot change. Rather, dwell on the things you are adaptable to, or that is coming your way. If you can avoid it, avoid it. If you cannot avoid it, confront it, but be prepared for it. So that when it hits you, it doesn't hit you so hard as to knock you down. They say if you worry, you die. You don't worry, you will still die. So why worry? Now, this is societal pressure to conform to traditional masculine norms, which can discourage men from expressing emotions or seeking help. Okay. Now, please forgive me if I try to be unduly religious in my thoughts, because the Islamic religion has a process. The Christian religion has another process. The Taoists, they all have their own. Taoists, those are the Chinese. The Buddhists, the Hindus, and all that, they all have processes. But what we must come to terms with is that we are all serving one God. One God. Don't tell me yours is better than mine and mine is better than yours. No. Look, the best way to express Godism is by, excuse my language, Godism, it sounds derogatory, is to say, the way I would like to deal with Bolaji or Chinyere or my other friends is to say, please, come what may, be unto me what you want me to be unto you. Do unto me what you want done to you as well from others. These are necessary situations where it helps us to try to avoid. I've just been told we have 5 minutes. Don't worry. Financial stress. This is one of my big problems. Sorry. Okay. Economic status can also play a significant role in mental health. Financial stress. You borrow money, say you're not going to pay back, or you won't go borrow. Then you're not going to pay back. Anytime you see the man you borrowed money from, what do you get? Your heart's cut. You become so stressed out. Now that Tinubu has said no money, sorry, I just used Tinubu out of deference because he's the president of Nigeria. There's no money. The naira against the dollar has little or no value anymore. And the dealings we have of ourselves is that, come what may, we must ensure that no matter the circumstance, we must plan our coats according to our size. That one is difficult, but think of that. Cut your coat according to your size. Plan your finances in such a way that you don't spend more than you can actually, more than you need, I should say. All right. What are the triggers of mental health? Let me see if I can see it. Okay, somebody is talking to you and saying, dude, this will pass you. Forget about it. This will pass. Forget it. Be a man about it, or be man. You are behaving like a girl. What's the matter with you? You are being too sensitive.
Hello, sir. Can you kindly unmute? You'll be muted. You're muted, sir. Hello, sir. You're muted. Hello, you're muted.
The reference is to you that you have muted yourself. Mr. Irabor, you have muted yourself, sir. So unmute yourself.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you.
I'm hosting Dr. Donyo Kukwe at yes. I'm hosting Dr. Donyo Kukwe at 8 o'clock. So he came to ask me for the address. Soni Irabor Live.
Okay, so let me just where you cut off from was where you were speaking about you borrow money, you know, when you see the person you owing money and then your heart skips. So that's where I said where you cut off from was where you were speaking about you borrow money, borrowing money and then seeing the person you're owing money. That was where the discussion.
Why am I hearing echo? Serious echo from your side, I think.
Yeah, I'm noticing that. Can you hear me well now?
I can hear you,
yes.
yeah.
Yes,
but it was a serious echo. Yeah, it's better now.
Okay, what I said, where you cut off from was where you were speaking about you borrowing money, and then your heart skipping when you see the person you borrowed from.
Yeah, no, I think I had gone beyond that. Where you borrow money from somebody, we see that person, you are so scared.
Yes.
Unfortunately, sir, you were muted, so we didn't hear you.
So we weren't hearing what you were saying at that time.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes. Yeah, okay. All right, let me let me do that a little bit better. So you borrow money, and then you now, you may not be able to pay back as at the time you promised. The next time when the man comes to you now, what do you see? Your heart could cut well. You become very afraid. So I'm saying, don't borrow money if you know it's going to be difficult to pay back. Or if you must borrow money, don't give a promise of when you pay back, when you know you cannot pay back that time. Let them know the real issue, the real problem, and then deal with it accordingly. It's either he will say no or he will say yes. But please, if you know you cannot do it, don't try it. That's my prayer to all of us. Okay? Then I went into some attitude that some of us, where is it? Sorry. Yes, some attitude that some of us tend to depend on what people say. Okay, man up now, what's your own? Be a man about it. You're behaving like a girl. You're being too sensitive. Deal with it. Boys do not cry. Come on. Even our parents used to tell us that. It's a big lie. Why did God give you tears? Man up. So the truth is, anybody who gets carried away with that kind of thought is really feeling very sorry for himself, because let's face it, don't tell me what I should do or how I should do it. If you know you cannot help me mentally, don't try and make me feel inadequate even to myself. I won't like that. Personally, I don't like such things. So transitions, when people that are close to you leave you, major life changes such as divorce, death, becoming a father. Well, becoming a father is not a life-changing thing, though. I like to be a father. I became very happy when I saw my children born. I was actually there, I saw them born. But I know some of my friends. Yeah,
maybe you say unprepared father. Becoming an unprepared father.
Well, okay. Thank you for helping me on that, because I know some people who said their women were pregnant when they were not sure they were the owners of the pregnancy. Okay, go and do DNA. But anyway, thank you, madam, for helping me on that one. Then retirement can be particularly stressful. I'm a retired man now, and I'm telling you, go easy. They haven't even paid my May salary as a retiree. So you can imagine how I feel. And people like Tinubu will come and tell me that my naira is no more as strong as it used to be. Anyway, may God not punish them. Relationship issues. Problems in relationships, whether with partners, family, or friends, can contribute to mental health challenges. Let me just move quickly. Now, the stigma factor is where I worry about. Stigma and health-seeking behavior. You see, the stigma is there are certain things you might do, and you think because of the way you did it, they're going to condemn you for it. You feel stigmatized by it. There's nothing wrong with being stigmatized. But because of the way you take it, it affects your thinking faculty. And that helps you. I mean, that doesn't help you. It messes you up. And I'm saying, ignore it. Make the best of it. Because the truth is, take it or leave. You worry, you die. No worry. So help-seeking behavior, talk to the nearest person. So discuss your problems. Don't worry about anything. And please, let me quickly go into this factor. This is my last slide. Address these risk factors that requires a comprehensive approach, which will include raising awareness, reducing stigma, promoting self-seeking behavior, and providing accessible mental health care tailored to the unique factors or needs of men. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, I will just say, as a matter of fact, this is my last slide, that men are only who they are. They're like big babies. The truth is, we would like to face the reality of life, but we also do not want to fail in the process of trying. So take us as you see us, but please don't be too tough on us, because we believe that life is what God made us to be. Life is there for socializing, for interacting, and for living. God bless you all. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Soni. Thank you. I think he deserves an accolade. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I enjoyed every bit of your keynote address, and I must say we learned a lot also. So in review of everything Uncle Soni has said, just be yourself. Whatever you can change, don't worry over it. That is just because if you worry, you die. You don't worry, you don't die. So it's better not to worry. Yeah, and then because sometimes when you worry too, you begin to develop some. Because I think I listened to someone like a health practitioner talking about if you're thinking too much or you are always having negative, feelings and thoughts, you could also develop some ailments and sicknesses. There are some things that your body will produce in terms of maybe hormones and toxins or whatever, excess ones that could lead to different kinds of disease. So don't just worry. As a man, it is good to be expressive also. It helps you. So it's good to be expressive, express yourself, feel free. And the society too has a role to play in this. We should also try not to stigmatize men who are expressive, it's okay for men to be vulnerable. Thank you so much, Uncle Soni. It's such a delight to have you here. So our next, we're moving fast because we don't want to take too much of your time. I want to give you time also. So we're going to the next item on the agenda, and that is going to be taken by our next speaker. His name is Dare Asobele. He's the founder of ASADS. And Dare, you would be telling us what ASADS mean. So Dare is going to be discussing the specific mental health challenges faced by men and strategies for early intervention. So before you go, I want to tell our participants, if you have questions, there's going to be time for Q&A. So you can also type in your questions into the chat box. So when it's time for Q&A, we are going to attend to all. Speakers will attend to your questions. So over to you, Dare. So sorry, before I go on, before Dare goes on to talk, I would like to read out his bio, his short bio. Timothy Asobele Emmanuel Dare is a Nigerian lawyer, a mental health advocate, humanitarian, a project manager based in Nigeria. He is the founder of Executives Helping Initiative an anti-suicide and depression squad, a subgroup of executives helping initiatives. So we're going to listen to Dare, take on his discussion. Over to you, Dare. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So I would also be sharing my screen. Just to confirm, and everyone see my screen. I would also talk briefly as to what.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, I want to try. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. So my name is Dare Asobele. So just to give a quick fact, right? Every 40 seconds, someone takes their life globally. So that means every year you have 800,000 people dying by suicide. In Nigeria, we're over 200 million. We do not have up to 1,000 registered mental health professionals. So what that means is that even if we had 1,000, it means one person has to attend to about 200,000 people, which is a lot. Just to share some facts, 2017, I used to be suicidal and depressed, and I was able to come out of that and, decided to start a group called ASADS, Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad. The plan was just to have just a WhatsApp group. And in less than 6 hours, over 240 something people joined the group. The group was full. Now we have 4 of those groups now. We have close to 1,000 people on that forum. And so what we do at ASADS is this: every Monday on our WhatsApp forum, which is ASADS from 1, 2, 3, 4, we have conversations around mental health on Mondays from 7 p.m. to 8 for 1 hour, where we self-educate people there. We also have a Telegram community where every Friday by 8 p.m. we talk to people about mental health. Every second Sunday of the month, we have a free mental health training that happens. You can follow us on Instagram. From 2 to 4, we have a free mental health training. And then every third Saturday, we have either a physical or virtual support group. Now, this support group, everyone signs a non-disclosure agreement. Whatever you say there is confidential. If you tell us you killed someone, whatever it is that you are struggling with, nobody will hear about it, right? Then we also have other activities such as ASADS Store, where we go to rural communities, secondary schools, universities, religious institutions to talk about mental health. And then we have our annual conference called Mental Health Speaks, basically. So you can follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, also support any of our projects, basically, if you're interested. We also have access to mental health professionals, local and foreign. We have about 12 of them. You can reach out to them. You will pay them for their services. We don't collect money. But we have access to mental health first aiders, right? You could also volunteer with us for 3 months, 6 months. We are very structured. We have serious systems in place. We work with volunteers. Nobody gets paid, but we have to be very serious and technical due to the nature of the work that we do. You're dealing with people's lives, people's mental health, basically. So in order not to take time, because I have another event for 6, and I know that we've listened to so much, right? So I'll be talking about mental health challenges faced by men, right? So men often face unique mental health challenges, I'm sure we all know, due to societal expectation and stigma. As a man, you are seen as the provider, you can't complain. There's a popular quote that says, men don't cry. As a man, you cannot, cry. And some of the societal expectations we have is that as a man, you're supposed to be strong, right? You're supposed to be emotionally reserved, right? Sometimes, even as a man, if you're talking too much or oversharing, you're seen as a weakling, right? People start laughing at you, basically, right? And so masculinity is seen as strength, independence, emotional control, and this often can create pressure on men to suppress their feelings. You can't start sharing issues you have to do. And I'm sure we all can agree that, especially those of us that are in Nigeria, as a man, you need to provide for your family, you need to get money. My friend who is a banker was telling me how, your money loses because of the 30% inflation in the economy, meaning that if you had 1 million naira now, right, and you were to invest, and the highest any investment to give you is about 18% per annum, right? But guess what? The value of that money drops by 30%. Do you get? So let's imagine you had 1 million naira. Just imagine next year, your 1 million naira will be worth 700K. So imagine having an investment of 1 million naira with an 18% interest, so you will get additional 180,000, which is 1,180,000, right? The value would have dropped, basically. So there's a lot going on. And even as the stigma, these kind of conversations, I would say, well done to you guys. We should have more of these conversations. It's not comfortable to have conversations around mental health. It's seen as, you're a weakling, right? So there's so much stigma in that space, right? Also moving on, there's also the difficulty in seeking help, right? There's the fear of judgment. What will people say, right? There's also the lack of awareness. A lot of people are not aware. The older generation do not even understand. It's not like there has not been mental health. There's always been mental health, right? Right. Maybe I should have done this right. There's a difference between mental health and mental illness. So the way you have physical health, where you can check your body, how you are doing physically, you can see symptoms, right? In case you're not feeling fine or you're vomiting, there's evidence to show whatever symptom they are dealing with. But when it comes to the mind, it's a different thing. It's not something you can see with the naked eyes. Do you get what I'm saying? So with mental health, it's just about how do you balance the normal stresses of life? Do you get, how do you handle everything, your responsibilities, or how do you handle things when you're under pressure? Do you get what I'm saying? So for men in this case, maybe I should just talk about depression. What is depression? Depression is the gradual loss of interest in things, for a period of time, a minimum of 2 weeks, meaning you're usually interested in something, but for more than 2 weeks, you stop doing these things, you're no longer active, you're no longer talking, then there's a need for concern, right? So men are likely, they are less likely to be able to seek professional help when it comes to mental health issues than women, right? And this is because of societal pressures and stigma around mental health. So first of all, there's the fear of judgment, right? Men who seek mental health are seen, mental health clarity or try to get help in that space are seen as weak, are seen as incompetent because they are seeking for help. They'll say, oh, you're not a man. Everything you are crying, everything you are shaking. Oh, why can't you do this? Your mates are doing this. There's always that comparison. There's also the lack of awareness. Many people are not even aware of the signs and symptoms of, mental health issues. Many of you might not know this. So mental health issues are hereditary, right? The family line, a lot of people don't know, right? Because of the work that I've been doing, I've been in this mental health space for over 7 years now. I've spoken to people, and there are medical conclusions as to how some of these symptoms are hereditary, right? And then it's passed to the next generation. There's also limited access. Many of us here might be based in Lagos, right? I know some people might be in other places. So most times, some of the states that are prominent about talking about mental health are maybe Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt. It's not like there's no mental health issues across 36 states, but there's limited access. Many of us don't know where to go to. A lot of men don't even know where to go to. They don't know how platforms they can easily go to be able to talk about these things, right? Many people don't even know that some HMOs cover mental health care. For example, Reliance. Reliance did not pay me to say this because I use Reliance. There's access to mental health professionals on there that many people don't know about, right? And this is something we also need to look at. And also, what are some of the common mental health issues among men? There's depression. Like once you notice that all of a sudden you become irritable, you get tired easily, you have difficulty concentrating, and there's some sort of sadness you feel from time to time. There's also anxiety. Anxiety is about worrying about the future. You are thinking about, what could go wrong. They're not settled and all of those things. And then also substance abuse. Our earlier speaker and the recent speaker spoke about the substance abuse, which is people try to use devices. It's what you call vices to sort of calm down. For some people, they need to just smoke. They need to drink. It could even be sex, using sex as some of coping mechanisms, right? Do you get what I'm saying? So all of these things are some of the things that cause mental issues among men, basically, right? Then importance of early intervention. Why is it important for us to be able to have systems and structures in place that can attend to the mental health issues of men? And what exactly is the benefit, right? So reduce severity. So early intervention can help reduce the severity of symptoms and prevent development of more serious problems. Do you get what I'm saying? So sometimes not everyone that is suicidal or commits suicide is depressed, but most times depression can lead to suicide. Do you get what I'm saying? So for example, it can start with depression, and if it's not managed properly, such a person can easily take their life, right? So it's important to put mechanisms in place, right? Also, what other benefits is faster recovery, right? So treatment is often more effective when you start early, right? For example, when you look at trauma, for example, especially people that suffer maybe PTSD from war, or imagine a lady that might have been raped at a very young age. When she's now married, she wants to have sex, it becomes traumatic. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's a need to be able to deal with these issues, right? Or someone that has been in a situation where they've been kidnapped, right? Because they found themselves in a certain place. Recently, a friend of mine was going to work, and she was robbed. She was robbed because she was going to work very early from K2 side. Right now, we're talking some weeks ago. She was telling me how whenever she enters a car, she's very concerned. I know that we're talking about men, but I just want to give an example. Like, she's concerned whenever she's going out with someone that because they took a week, right? So, the way the person spoke. So all of these things have a way of, messing with people's mind, right? And also not just even men, but also women, because I know we have some ladies here. And so I'm just saying this so that don't just listen to what I'm saying, but also be able to educate people, right? Because a lot of times people say things, we're so quick to cancel people, but people say things from a place of ignorance, right? I like teaching. And so one of the things why you need to be able to learn what I'm saying and also do your further research so that you are able to educate people. Do you get? Because a lot of times, many of us do things from a place of ignorance. I won't lie to you. In 2017, I was dating someone that mentioned she was depressed. I was laughing. I was like, why would you say, what is depression? I didn't know about it until I found myself in that situation. Not every time. Experience is the best teacher, but you don't need to be depressed and suicidal before you finally get it. Do you get? And also, like I said, so also seeing a therapist, right? A lot of times people think that only mad people see therapists. People feel like they need to be in the worst. Many of us in Nigeria, you will not go to the hospital sometimes, even for physical health issues, until you start seeing symptoms, until you start vomiting. No, are there things you can do where you can even get clarity, right? Therapy is not only for people that are crazy. No, it's not. You don't need to be mad. You can go for therapy just to be able to get clarity about life, right? So also improve quality of life. Early intervention can help you regain control of your life and improve your overall well-being. You now know how to deal with situations. You know how to handle people. You know how to be able to choose the people you can feel comfortable with sharing. So these are some of the benefits. Do not wait for things to become extreme. Do not wait for things to become late, right? As a project coordinator, guys, I currently work in a facility where I set up cancer centers, right? And many times, many people come to the center when the cancer is already at stage 4. And at that stage, it's more like you're just buying the person time. But imagine if people come when it's already at stage 1, doing random tests. So I'm begging you. Now, I just use the cancer thing as an example that many times, all of these things start from childhood. In fact, being in Nigeria, we've gone through so much trauma. I'm sure many of us will agree. Those many of us that, because I'm still a millennial, right? I grew up in the era where if you injured yourself, you go and tell your parents, they will beat you on top of it, instead of them to take care of you, because of that kind of mentality. They taught all of these things just to be able to toughen us up. Do you get what I'm saying? So those are some of the struggles you have to understand that it's nothing wrong. Even before you get married, understand that your partner might be dealing with trauma that you don't understand, right? Just to share a quick example, I had a friend that confided in me that, she had a mental health issue. I don't want to mention the name, a very severe mental health issue. And I also had another friend that they were talking, right? So she confided in him to tell him that, this was what she was dealing with. And all of a sudden, he ghosted her, stopped talking to her. And, she was really upset about it, right? And I asked him what happened. And he confided in me, he said, Dari, I didn't know how to deal based on what she told me. I know it's very easy for many of us to cancel him, but it's not a bad thing. He confessed to me. He didn't understand the issue that this person was dealing with. He didn't have information. He didn't have knowledge. And so he was scared. Do you get what I'm saying? People fear what they don't know, right? So it's very important for us to be able to get clarity. Now, for those of us that are men on the call or you have a loved one, what are some of the strategies for promoting mental wellness? The truth is that there are several strategies that can help men. Sorry, please, can you guys see my screen as I'm sharing? I want to confirm so that, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah,
yes. All right, so there are several strategies that can help men prioritize their mental health and well-being. Exercise. There are what you call happy hormones. There are chemicals in your brain, right, that are produced, such as dopamine, oxytocin, right? Some of these chemicals come when you do exercise. So regular exercise releases endorphins, right, reducing stress and improving your mood. Do you get what I'm saying? So doing exercise regularly has a way of improving your mood. You're excited, you are moving, right? Meditation. Meditation can help manage stress and promote relaxation, right? You're able to meditate, you're able to calm down. Also, social interaction, right? We live in a generation now. Me and my friend were also talking like, people are just so close to, they're always using their phone. Nobody's playing in the park anymore, playing with sand, building house castle and all of those things. So there's a need for us to have social interaction, right? On a normal circumstance, back in the day, this would have had to be a physical event, right? So that everybody can get to see each other, shake hands, talk. So there's a need for social connection. We're not built to live alone, right? You're built to be able to connect with people. So social connection, connecting with loved ones and building strong relationships provides support and reduces feelings of isolation. right? A lot of people that are sort of relocated. I'm sure many of us that have friends that are relocated, if you're on this call, you know that a lot of people are in the diaspora are currently struggling with loneliness. They're lonely because they're isolated. You know, they do it do it yourself over the DIY, right? Everyone is doing it themselves. They mind their business and all of those things. So there's a need for you to be able to interact, right? I've had instances. There are two cases I want to talk about. There was a situation abroad where there was a woman where she was in her house for months. She died in there. Nobody came to check up on her. All the neighbor knew was that the meal was piling up. Some years ago, I know that one of the neighbors I had in Unilag, you know, died in his house. Nobody came to check until they realized the man, you know, his body was smelling, and they came to pack him inside our place. For more than a month, he was there. Right? And so there's a need for you to be able to connect to people so that people can check up on you, right? If you notice someone has not been posting on your WhatsApp status, you know, check. Also, healthy diet, right? We're going to have a session. You can check ASADS page on nutrition and mental health. Many people don't understand that what they eat has a way of affecting their mood. Many of us might not have noticed that some of the things you eat have a way of affecting your mood, your energy, how you talk, and how you react to certain situations, right? So healthy diet, nourishing the body with a balanced diet, has a way of improving your energy levels and giving you mental clarity. So this is something you need to take note of. So exercise, meditation, social connection, and healthy diet, right? Another thing is that it's also important to engage men in such conversations like this. I know it's because June is Men's Mental Health Month, so we're going to do a lot of that. I've gotten a lot of speaking gigs now this month because, you know, it's June's Mental Health Month. After June, everybody just forgets about men, right? I was even telling someone tomorrow is Father's Day. There's only one event to celebrate men. I know we've done 2 or 3 Mother's Day. No disrespect to the women, I'm just saying, right? And so there's a need for us to be able to promote conversations like this. And one of the things we can do is to create a safe space for men to discuss mental health, right? When can they have conversations like this? While I was on my way to work some weeks ago, you know, someone was telling me how, you know, married men are going through a lot. They can't really talk to people. People think everything is okay with them, but they have issues that they are dealing with. They don't have platforms for them to be able to talk. Sometimes to become a father, nobody really has a template, right? So they are just winging it. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm sure many of us saw the thing online where, you know, a lot of Nigerians complain that the relationship they had with their fathers or parents was bad. But a particular man showed how he's been very, very intentional about being a father in his child's life. And so there's a need for us to be able to promote open conversation. Let's encourage men to share. So many times when you say, oh, how you doing, right? Don't just say how you doing just as far it's automatic. Listen, are you really interested in when you ask your male friends how you doing for them to literally be able to share? Or you're just saying it because it's just something you're supposed to say? Do you really want to know how he's doing? How he's shuttling the bills, doing multiple jobs, trying his best to provide for the families, doing all the necessary struggle, having to listen, to be present, juggling all of those things, still being an employee or an employer to pay salaries and all of those things? Do you really want to hear all of these things? You need to be able to create that space. If you're a woman here, you have an husband. Do you create an enabling environment for your husband to talk to you? Or is he going to run to the beer parlor to go and drink because he feels like he's coming home to come and fight? There's another battle. Do you make the house a safe space for him? Right? So these are conversations you want to have with yourself. Does he feel comfortable staying at home instead of him going to the beer parlor or going somewhere else because he feels like he's not going to have peace of mind at home? Right? We also need to provide role models. And one of the things we can do is allow men that are comfortable sharing about their mental health journey so that people feel like, if Obama can share about, for those of us in the football world, Dele Alli recently shared about his journey in struggling with the mental health, right? As a man, as a footballer, he sort of paved the way for other people to be able to speak up because they felt like, you know, if Dele can speak up, then I can speak up. So we need to be able to promote more men sharing this, right? And using inclusive languages, right? You know, we also need to be careful with the way we talk and how we talk about men's mental health, or rather some of the languages we use when it comes to mental health issues, right? And how we talk about it. Let's not downplay it, basically. So this is something we also need to think about. So in conclusion, empowerment to prioritize their mental health is really crucial. And this can only happen when we recognize the unique challenges that men face and implement effective strategies that can empower men to be able to promote and prioritize their mental health. So you have to do this through self-care. So as a man or anyone that knows any man, you need to encourage them to prioritize their own needs and engage in activities that promote mental health. Play football, I swim, go for swimming lessons, learn how to swim, right? Prioritize yourself, spend on yourself, take yourself out. Then support system, right? And the thing about support system is that you need to be able to provide that safe space, right? Have a support group, have more of these conversations, right? Education, you need to raise awareness about mental health issues and the importance of seeking help. You have to educate people. And then let's have open communication, encourage open communication about mental health to reduce the stigma, so that you can be able to promote understanding, basically. So that's it for me in terms of this session. I hope we've been able to learn as much as possible, because I know we've been talking so much. And one of the things about this is you do not want to be able to bore the audience so far. So yes.
Thank you, Dari. Thank you so much. In fact, this session is so informative, and I've learned a lot. Just everything you have discussed is very relatable. It's very understandable that, a lot of people don't like to share, mental health information because of, they are going to be stigmatized, they're going to be laughed at, they're going to be seen as weak things. But it's okay, just be you. And, and then the support system you spoke about too, everything boils down to trust. When we're talking, when you want people to share their stories, they want to be able to see people like they can trust them to be able to share their information, deep secrets, and not being, laughed at, or probably spreading, everything around across, everywhere. Like you have groups where someone shares something, somebody goes out and spread it to other people, There should be, you should be able to, you should see someone we can confide in. Everything is all centered around trust. And I think with time, we're already growing, communities like that. And, this is also helping us, tackle the issues. And you also mentioned educating. A lot of people need to be aware about it. And also, it is not bad to seek therapy. It is just, ideal to seek therapy so that you can address the issue early enough. And then, take part in activities that will boost, the good hormones and everything. Exercise, feed well, dwell on good diets. Social connection is very important too. So what I see from your discussion here too, I see that because depression is on the rise on this side of the country, this side of the world now, because we are beginning to adopt, the lifestyle, the European lifestyle of being, minding my own business, being alone and all that. But somehow in the African community, I probably think our kind of community also, it helps us, like keep at least a level of mental balance, because we are communal. We have people around us, people give birth, you have people to help you carry your baby and all that. Over there, there's so much pressure on your mental health that you're always doing things alone. It can be depressing. So we encourage people to have people around them. It's okay to mind your business, but sometimes it's not always good to mind your business too much. You need to check on your neighbors too and genuinely be concerned, not just, on the top of it. So thank you so much, Dari. It's nice engaging you, and we learned a lot. So we're going to go right in because we want to round up quickly. We're going to have our panel discussion, and we're taking the panel discussion together. Right after, we're going to take the question and answer session. And this is going to be taken and moderated by Gio Lawal. Gio Lawal is the Lagos Vice President for projects under the United States Government Exchange Alumni. So over to you, Lawal. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, BJ. Yes, that's from Balaji Jaji. Thank you so much for handling the session so far. It's been an engaging session so far, and much more appreciation, yes, to our speakers. Yes, thank you so much, Chinyere, and thank you, Dari, and thank you, Mr. Soni Irabor. Before I go on, when I heard Mr. Soni Irabor mention the fact that he has been part of these fellowships since 1986, I just could not start shaking on my chair, and knowing and having listened to him for several years. I remember some of the insightful conversations he had led. I'm just like, oh, am I actually going to have to ask? You know, it's just like you, a lieutenant trying to ask a field marshal questions, and it sounds kind of somehow. But you know, we're just going to do what we have to do. I am tempted to call Uncle Soni, but because when I heard when he warned BJ that if it was to be outside this, he would have actually taken it up. I'm just going to use Mr. Soni just to keep it in a kind of format. All right, thank you so much, you know, our speakers, you know, for the insight you've shared with us so far. I'm trying to bring you up. I will appreciate if you can put on your video so I can bring you up right now for the session. But yeah, before I forget, yes, before we go on, permit me to first bring up Chi. Yes, permit me to quickly bring up Chi. She has yes, Chinyere too. She has a mental exercise for us, which I think would help us kind of relax the moment before we then go into further conversations on this. Chi, I don't know if you can quickly do this.
Okay, I'm unable to share my screen right now, Jill.
Oh, okay.
Probably, maybe we can take some questions, then we can do this exercise.
Okay, you should be able to do that now. All right.
Excellent.
Okay.
So which are we gonna do? Take the questions, or do I take the exercise?
Let's take the engagement quickly.
Excellent. Okay, that works. Can you see my screen, everyone? Please.
Yes.
It's coming up.
Thank you so much. So imagine you were with friends and someone just made a very curt remark about how ugly your clothes were and how inappropriate it was for the occasion. How would you feel? Or imagine if you opened your email on a Monday morning and saw an email from the love of your life with email subject, "It's over." Imagine.
Wow.
Now, these are just some examples of stressful situations. Thank you so much, Mr. Soni. Well, I'm going to call you Uncle Soni because BJ told that line. I'm going to tell it. And thank you so much, Mr. Daria, as well. You know, they said a lot of key things about mental health, not excluding you from the normal stresses of life. So stresses are part of life, but this 5 minutes exercise, I want to teach you how you can get yourself back. This is called a grounding exercise. Grounding exercise was made popular by the WHO. That was in 2020, at the peak of COVID-19. And WHO did recommend it as a means to, for you to bring back yourself, and one of the best things for you to do in the moment of high stress. So when we experience stress, our body goes through a stress reaction. A stress reaction is things that keep us heightened, that keep us very frightened, that keep us ready to fight, that keep us active. So we are so active, our pupils are so dilated, our muscles are tense, and we're just on fire because something has just happened that just shook you. Like, what just happened? The essence of the grounding exercise is for you to just remind yourself that, wait, I'm safe here. I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. Yes, I just saw that email. Yes, I just heard that comment, but I am safe here. The stress response has benefits, but then if you live your life always in the stress condition, you will probably come down with a high blood pressure or other forms of both mental and physical conditions that you don't even want to know. So the question would be, how do you know when to come down from the stress high horse and settle back down on the ground? Not literally now, but mentally. And that's what this exercise is going to do. So getting hooked away, maybe you're in conversation with your colleagues and you just got distracted. You catch yourself thinking, oh my God, what kind of clothes is she wearing? Do I have something like that? You're getting hooked away. So let's ground, okay? So we're going to all do it together. We have 26 persons on this call. It's going to be very quick. So first, I encourage you to shut your eyes. Don't worry, it's not voodoo we're doing. Just shut your eyes. Good. Now, oh wait, before you shut your eyes, please open your eyes. Sorry. Cool. The first exercise, you need your eyes. So that's why you can't shut your eyes. I want you to pick up 5 things that you can see. 5 things in your environment, wherever you are, at home, in the office, that you can see. 5 things you can see. You can put them on the chat box. Try to name them out loud if you can. I can see my laptop. I can see the ring lights. I can see a bed around me. I can see a door. What are 5 things that you can see? Laptop. Please. Good. So, have we all named the 5 things? Remember, this is a grounding exercise. You can't be distracted doing this one. I'm very sure of that. Box, phone, chair, table, books, charger, laptop, power bank, remote, phone, laptop, modem, mouse, power, table, cup. Excellent. Now, can you name 4 things that you can touch? Now, this time you need to shut your eyes. 4 things that you can touch. Try to feel around for 4 things. I can touch my phone. I can touch a table. Good. You might want to say them out loud. Just touch. Don't just touch. Feel. How soft is it? How hard is it? How soft? How supple?
Laptop.
Mm-hmm.
I can touch
Mouse.
the table.
Oh,
Phone.
Touch the
excellent.
chair. Yes.
Good. Your clothes, right? How, what material do you think it's made up of? If you were to imagine a color for it with your eyes shut, what color would you imagine? Good. That's for 4 things. Excellent. Now we're going to move on. With your eyes still shut, name 3 things that you can hear. I'm sure my voice is one of it, but can you hear any? Can you hear anything else? I can hear some children talking around me.
Your voice.
Generator. Car passing.
Good.
The AC.
Good. 3 things.
A drill.
Excellent, sir.
Can hear my fan.
Good. Thanks, PJ. Good. Now, name 2 things that you can smell. I can smell my perfume. What else can I smell?
I can smell my perfume. I can smell petrol. I can smell everything good.
All right, Uncle Soni.
I can smell my perfume.
Good.
Can smell my soup.
Good. Who is smelling soup? Beautiful. Now, the last one, you all are doing so well. The last one, name 1 thing that you can taste.
I can taste my saliva.
My saliva. Yeah. My saliva.
All of us can taste.
What does it taste like?
It's sweet because I've just had tea.
Good. That's nice. Try to find out what your saliva tastes like. Try to give a name to it.
Salivating. Salivating.
Okay. Good. Well done. Please open your eyes. Now, you can do this grounding exercise anytime, any day, anywhere. Remember, the essence is for you to remind yourself, no matter what is happening, I am safe here. I am safe now. There is no need to be agitated. There is no need to be stressed. I will be fine. And I think it would do a lot of magic. In addition to what Uncle Soni said, counting 1 to 10, all of those things are things you could do to give your body time to cool down, you know. All right, everyone. Thank you for participating in this exercise with me. I hope you keep it close to heart and try to practice it as much as possible. Thank you. Back to you, Gio.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that exercise. at first when I closed my eye, I won't say I was scared because I'm not in my house right now. So I just want to be sure that I'm safe where I am. So, but you know, I'm listening to your voice. I just had to follow through, and yeah, thank you. I later discovered that I'm safe. I'm with myself, and I'm good. I'm fine. Yeah, thank you so much for that wonderful exercise. Yeah, all right. So quickly, we'll go straight into the panel session. I'll take some questions. We exceeded our time already, and we wouldn't like to stretch this too much than it should be. So quickly, I would like to bring also to this panel discussion Uncle Soni Irabor. Yeah, so I have no choice right now than to go tilt the line of BJ and Chi by also using uncle. So that I won't be now. I know I'm not the only one that will be prosecuted for using the word uncle. So we are many on this line now. All right. So Uncle Soni, I would like to have you on your video. Yes, thank you so much, sir. So I can add you also to this. Yes. All right, so why I will be asking some questions. If you have questions, also please kindly drop them in the chat box. And in a few minutes, I would call you up to also ask, your questions. All right, so quickly, while the conversation was going on, I was really jotting and writing and trying to note some things. And some of the questions that came to my mind is, number one is, there are some social expectations, and some traditional gender roles, that impact, men's mental health. So how can we identify some of these social expectations and traditional gender roles, that impact men's mental health? I know some, as we were actually talking, were really coming out, but I don't know if we can maybe okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just call someone's name to answer a question so that we don't have to repeat answers for the question. Then I'll call the other person's name to answer another question. So I'm going to start with Uncle Soni, as as a grandfather. Yes, I know, as a grandfather, you obviously would have you're muted, sir. You're muted, sir. I can see you talking. So you're muted, sir.
Can you hear me?
Now, yes, they can hear you now, sir.
Okay, somebody muted me before. Sorry about that. Yeah. If I got your question correctly, what
yes, sir.
does a man have to do with being a man in traditional settings? That's
exactly.
my paraphrasing now.
Yes,
well,
sir.
Let's just put it this way. The Benin culture where I come from, the man is supposed to be the breadwinner. Okay? But recent events, more than 30 years, have shown that some women have become very economically independent. Some women from this, the Civil War became single parents because their fathers, the fathers of their children died during the war. Some of them, they didn't even know their fathers at all because soldiers came from Biafra or the East that time, to the Midwest where we were. And then, sorry to say, but they were very free with our girls. And then when they left, they were spending serious money. When they left, they never came back. And these guys didn't know who they were. Today, they are grandmothers. They have children who have all become some well-to-do, some managing, some not so well-to-do. So that series of events led to a shift in belief that man should always be in charge. But in the East, the man is always in charge. The man gives way for the woman. I mean, the man must be authority. Well, that's why most of the women ended up going to school while the men went to do business and earn money. Today, we cannot really explain why. So there's so many series of things like that. Even when I went abroad, one of those series, I went with a white lady. She insisted on paying for both of us, paying her own bit of the restaurant we went to and me pay my own bit. And I said, no, I'm going to pay all my own because I'm a man and I'm from Nigeria. So I'm just giving you some scenarios that could lead or make men believe that they are the ones who are supposed to be the breadwinners, and so the men in charge. But it shouldn't always be like that, really. Not in modern times, anyway. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does actually. Thank you so much for that, wonderful response. I don't think anyone would have probably, provided the right answer as you just did. Okay, now quickly let me move to you, Chi. You spoke a lot about, addictions, about some of the things we need to experience. And one of the things you said is you said more women experience mental health, but less men seek help. When you said that word, I kept asking myself, and I want to ask you the question I was actually asking myself. How can we then identify early signs of mental health issues in men? And what steps can be taken, to intervene early? How exactly can we just do this?
Thank you so much, Gio, for that question. You see, it's a very touchy matter, not just for me, but for everyone involved. Because by and large, if I'm fine and the men in my life are not, it's still going to come around and affect me. So that's how I see this topic, that we are all grouped in this. But then to address your question, what can we do to salvage the situation early? I think it starts initially from behavioral changes. So you probably know a man who is very outspoken, who is very jovial, who is very free-spirited. All of a sudden, he's withdrawn or he's withdrawing, away. And you see that he's always tensed. How do you know he's always tensed? Maybe his hands are shaking, his eyes are darting about, he's looking fearful. And I think it boils down to what Mr. Dari said. You also need to take responsibility, not just for your mental health, but for the mental health of those who are around you. So if I notice that my friend's behavior is changing, I see him, get angry too often than I'm used to, or I see him, do some behavior that I feel, wait, this is not you. I don't think there's anything wrong in asking, do you feel you might have a mental health condition? Because sometimes we feel like, well, let me not bring it up so it doesn't, escalate. In fact, not bringing it up is what will make it worsen. So I think people need to be unafraid to ask direct questions. Have you considered that you might be probably experiencing a depression? Have you considered, your drinking is becoming very frequent. Do you think you might be having an addiction? Sometimes these are questions the person is asking himself, but he needs a second mouth to say it for the person to feel like, okay, let me go check out something like that. So we have to keep our eyes on the ground, on the lookout for the men in our circle. And when you notice changes, ask. And don't just ask, offer support. Can I go with you? If you don't want to go alone, let me assist you. Let's go together to go see maybe a psychologist or a counselor or a therapist. Let's just ensure that it's not what we are thinking. Just as you go to the hospital to do a HIV test to be sure you're negative, that's how you should be willing to walk in and have an additional assessment or a psychosis assessment just to be sure that that is not in the picture if it's not. So I that's what I feel might help. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chi, for that. We all need to watch out and be our brother's keeper. Yes, and just make sure that we are aware not just of our environment and also aware of people around us. Yes, like someone just dropped now, be aware of our, be able to provide the right support for one another. I can say a question in the chat box right now, which I would like to quickly take. And it says, many parents do not really understand mental health issues in their children. What advice do you have for parents who have children whom they consider difficult? So now this question, I'm going to transfer this question to Uncle Soni. I believe you would have a better insight, to be able to answer this question. How do parents, how is it going to be easy for parents to be able to understand, their children's mental health and be able to advise them appropriately, especially children that they consider to be difficult?
Is that for me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
Okay, sorry, because your voice went off a bit, but I got your question. Anyway,
okay.
I'm a parent. My son is 40 years old. Do we fight? Yes, we do. But I've learned over time to listen rather than argue. Because when you argue, in fact, not even your child, anybody, not even younger ones or older ones, don't argue with anybody. Because if you argue, what will happen is you won't know the difference. You will know who is a madman, who is a stupid man, who's gone crazy. That's the problem with argument. So the second issue is listen. As a parent, you should be able to listen, because sometimes some of the things your child will say will actually make more sense than you want to agree with. So the best thing to do is listen. And when you listen, learn to also negotiate or discuss with him or her, as the case may be. Because as the children, look, there's another thing we are worried about now, most parents. That's the fact that somebody mentioned it earlier, I think it was the last speaker, that most young people depend on devices, social media, the telephone. So they become very internalized. They believe only in the things they interact with mentally. And what is that thing? Is what you are seeing in the device. And that thing could be very misleading. So most times you see that some children argue more with their parents than they even want to care to do so. So I would always advise that you study your child, because when you do, you might be able to see that the child is going off course, or the child needs a voice that can listen to him, an ear that can listen to him, or a child that just wants to make noise so that, attention seeking. So my conclusion with, please be a parent that is concerned. Don't be a parent that has a problem and is allowing him and the child to suffer from the problem. It will not be fair, and it's not good.
Thank you so much. All right, Chi, I can see your hand raised.
Yes, I mean, who am I to speak when Soni have just spoken? But I felt there's something I must add. I'm not a parent, but I have parents. I think another thing to add is, as a parent, you should be sure not to transfer your own trauma or life experiences on your children.
Yeah, very important.
Because the context is different. Maybe as a young person, you probably didn't go to school when you're supposed to. Maybe you were lazy and it had some negative impact on you. And because now you hate laziness so much, you take it out on your children. You mandate it on them. No laziness in this house. And then you might end up pushing your children beyond their own personal limits. So I think if you decide you're going to parent a child, whenever, you should also plan to have mental health training to ensure that you are fine before you begin to rear another human being. Because being able to individualize your children is very key. And no two children are the same. Don't transfer anything. Don't transfer from yourself to them. Don't transfer from your child to the other and say, can't you see your brother? Can't you act like your sister? They are not the same. And these are things that make children so touchy and so frustrated. They are running away from the house. They are in homes. They have parents, father and mother, but they can't talk to anybody about their struggle because it's like, I don't matter. Like everybody's just pushing their own expectation, like Uncle Soni mentioned earlier. So I feel being able to make sure you're fine as a parent, deal with your trauma, deal with your own, ambiguous expectations, irrational belief systems is also another thing I wanted to add. Thank you.
Wow. I in fact, the last statement you just made now, made me realize that a lot of times we have parents who probably are even having their own mental issues. They've not healed, and yet they now have expectations from the children. Then it's like let me permit my words, like a madman, trying to expect another madman to be healed. it's just so thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And my last question, because we are so pressed for time. Please, if you have questions, kindly use the raise hand button so that I'm able to take your questions quickly. before we wrap up with this session today. We're so pressed for time, but I have a last question. Why I look out for the hands to be raised for those who might have questions. So quickly, my last question. I can see the signal already that my time is up already. So my last question is just to there's this. I know that the conversation right now is actually focusing on men, but the society where we live in, there's a lot of ways through which the behaviors of the man, one way or the other, comes back to shape the society. And I'm talking about this especially on the aspect of issues of gender-based violence, for example, putting gender-based violence as a major contest here. A lot of expectations, gender equality. I'm actually a women's rights advocate, if you understand. And there's a lot of conversation. We've trained a lot of women on, being able to understand their rights. And a lot of men are being left aside in this conversation. So how can we, considering that this has a lot of potential when the capacity of the men are not properly being built, especially at a very young age, how can this negligence on the part of the boy child, let me use the word boy child now, how can it then inform their decision when they now becomes grown-up men, and they then begin to manifest some of these issues, as mental health issues? So I don't know. It's a free question, actually. I think either Uncle Soni or Chi can respond to that. I don't know if my question is clear.
Mr. Lawal, sorry.
Yes, sir.
I think that Mr. Asobele should, if you say it's a free question, let Mr. Asobele respond to that.
All right, sir. Yes, Uncle Soni, please go on, sir.
Yeah, sorry, because I'm in a very noisy vehicle. That's why I didn't want to. Yeah, go ahead. Let me take your question in a way I understand it. I believe many of our male children today are victims of poor parenting, bad upbringing, and the fact that they didn't even have the father figure to look after them. But today, some of them are fathers. Some of them are even representing their constituencies at the National Assembly. Who's going to correct those ones? They don't even know they've committed any crime at all, or any shortcoming. Let me not call it crime. But one thing we must understand is, if we look inward, we should be able to self-criticize ourselves to the point of, understanding what is expected of us and what we're supposed to do as men in the society. We should be able to, John Kennedy said, ask not what the country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. It's a give and take affair. So, but the process of human learning and being is that as you grow older, you learn more, you become wiser. So forget about your past. The truth is, you can actually become a better person. If your parents didn't bring you up too well, do better than they did so that you can bring up your children a lot better. I believe there's so much that can be done, so that we don't want to face the reality of the situation. That's the truth.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. So we actually have to end this session right now, and I must say that it's been a wonderful time, listening to Uncle Soni, Irabor, and Chinyere, Okoro, and of course, Dari Asobele. Yeah, thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. Now I'm going to pass the mic back to my publicity secretary, BJ. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lawal. And I would say we would call it a wrap today, but I would want to leave us with this few lines that let us not stop stigmatizing mental health. Let us understand that when we need help, let us seek for it. And let us, grow in a community where we can express ourselves, look for a community where we can express ourselves and build trust. And it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be expressive as a man. And then we should also, according to what Uncle Soni said, we should self-criticize, ourselves, so that we do not transfer, our childhood traumas or, the fears that we had while growing up to maybe the next generation, transfer our aggression and all that. So we call it a wrap today, and I want to appreciate all the speakers. In fact, it was explosive. All your insights were, valuable, and we learned a lot. I want to say a big thank you to the United States Government Exchange Alumni. And I also want to say thank you to Mr. Soni Irabor. We want to say thank you to Chinyere Okoro. We also want to say thank you to Asobele. Thank you so much for your valuable insight. We want to thank the president of the USGEAA and the, let me say, amazing, team, that brought this program to life. I also want to thank our very, very, what would I use? Valuable participants for sparing their time. I know it's not easy on a weekend to spare this much time. So thank you for the she, for he in the room with us. We also want to thank you. So everything we've learned, I hope we will put it into practice. We go home and educate people, reduce stigmatizing people, and, in fact, just, dwell on everything that we have learned today. So, and it's a wrap today, and we call it, the end of this session. I hope you all enjoyed yourself. Thank you so much, and God bless. So bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye. See you in the next episode.
Yes.
Bye, everyone. Enjoy.
Yeah, see you in the next episode. Yes, yes.
Please, how do we contact you guys?
Yes,
Okay,
social media.
So we are going to drop our social media handles. You can follow us on Instagram across our social media, USGEAA _Lagos. USGEAA _Lagos. Please, Mr. Lawa, can you just help us type it in the chat box?
Yes, I am. I'm doing that.
Yeah, you can follow us across our social media handles on LinkedIn, X, Twitter, on X, on Instagram. We are live. We are very, very, very responsive, and we are very active on those social media handles. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. It was an amazing time with you all. Thank you. So bye.